Welcome back to another edition of the KTTH Roundtable, where Bryan and I talk about various topics that we do not prepare for at all around a literal round table. I wanted to start with the capital gains tax. We told you last week the Supreme Court decided to redefine the word the same way they redefine what is a woman and equity and racism and whatnot.
What's income?
To pretend that it's now not an income tax but an excise tax. There have been some aggressively stupid hot takes in defense of this ridiculous decision. The worst, I think, is from Matt Driscoll in the Tacoma News Tribune, in which his title basically said, "Oh, the rich have to pay more, boo-hoo." These people don't seem to understand that when you have a court that is willing to completely rid itself of any concern over the law and decide to rule via politics, they're going to come for you next. And I know Matt Driscoll doesn't think he'll ever be able to make more than $65,000 as an editor at a newspaper that's dying, but other people don't view the wealthy as somehow evil or undeserving. The hatred that goes into this and the sort of the wokeness of it all, the court says, oh, there's too many rich white people. What are these people doing?
And nobody should be surprised, including the people that predicted that this wouldn't lead to a exodus of money. But the exodus has begun. Fisher Investment Capital, one of Clark County's most lucrative employers, lots and lots of six-figure people in Camas, is going to, just like salt water going through a porous membrane to the freshwater, well, money is going to go through a porous membrane called the Columbia River back to Texas. Fisher himself lives in Texas, moving the headquarters of the firm. Therefore,
but no jobs are going to change.
Yeah, and the thing is, the money goes first, and then those jobs in Camas, they're going to be told a year from now, we're going to be moving everything, consolidating it down here in Dallas.
Jobs go with headquarters generally. It's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to see 1,800 people without a job, but you are going to see a significant amount of people who are going to be asked to move to Texas, or they're not going to have that job. What was interesting in that Ken Fisher statement that he put out on Friday of last week was it wasn't just about the capital gains tax. It's about what's going to come next. And the Democrats for the last year and a half, 2 years have been talking about a wealth tax. They're going to attempt that next. And I'd love to see the word salad that comes out of the court to try to defend that as not being an income tax.
Here's what I've got for you. And I think the pushback that may cost billions. And it's that the UW is going to start putting chemical sniffers on metro buses, because enough bus drivers have now complained about secondary effects, but there's no such thing as secondhand fentanyl smoke. You're getting the smoke off the same foil that the guy is smoking on.
This doesn't make any sense. It's like they don't know how people are consuming fentanyl on buses. I've seen it happen literally in front of me. The concern is not about secondhand smoke. It's about the firsthand smoke that comes from the cooking of the fentanyl on the tin foil.
And I love that King County Public Health, who works for King County, spent 3 years telling us that we're going to kill grandma if we don't wear a mask, but don't worry about fentanyl curling around the bus that you're driving for 8 hours. So the UW is going to put a device on there. When it shows that there is such a thing as primary fentanyl floating around in buses, the class action lawsuit by their own employees of King County is going to be monstrous, and the reputation for Sound Transit will be irrecoverable.
Yeah, hopefully they don't actually cook the data, because that's what I'm concerned with. Any data that comes out and says, no, fentanyl smoke on a bus, totally fine. I'm going to question that immediately.
That union should hire their own lab to check the work. So I think this is a monster government lawsuit looming.
So hopefully those of you watching, instead of getting high on fentanyl, you're getting high on the stimulating conversation. We'll see you next week.